All right, so Laura and I were just talking, clearly, what we do
Uh-uh.
best. And uh we started out talking about grief in the holidays, and we were like,
Mhm.
yes, we should talk about that on the air.
Yeah.
And then we started talking about difficult emotions. And I guess it does all come together, but we went all over the map with it. So we're not exactly sure how to explain what's going to happen today, but we'll start with grief and family and holidays.
And I'll tell you guys, and I've said this to Alicia, one of my favorite things about being friends with Alicia is she makes everything an adventure, be that a simple cookie run or, just figuring out what time we're getting together sometimes can be an adventure, but it's fun. And I love it. So we are going to go on a true, we need to like find a fun way to merge our names. We can do that offline. I can't think of it right now. But
Yeah.
grief with the holidays. Yeah. I mean, and it's so dynamic across so many different components because sure, it can be losing someone you love. One of the things we were talking about is how I don't know what's in the water around the holidays, but it does seem to be a time where a lot of people pass.
Yeah.
Um, I know I'm experiencing a degree of grief in terms of how I used to relate to my family versus how I relate now. I used to fit in more and belong and kind of drink the Kool-Aid. And now that I've evolved as a human being, I don't connect and relate to them in the same way. I still have my own moments where I know how to, but there's a gap in the depth of connection. And like, I miss feeling closer to them, but I'm also not willing to become, a regressed version of myself just so I can feel connected to them because that's not really connection, right? Um, and then there's the loneliness
Mhm.
in general, like people who have lost relationships or jobs and identities. Like grief is such a big component around the holidays because I think we look at the holidays and we think of like a Hallmark movie, like
Ah,
joy,
oh my
all
God.
the
Don't even get
jingles,
me started on the damn Hallmark movies. But yes.
right? Like it's all
Yes.
like joy and cherished and small town and look at all the Christmas decor. And so we have this idea of how fun and loving and joyous. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not shitting on the holidays. I enjoy the holidays. I like the festivities. I love giving gifts. So hell yeah. And I think we have this false attachment to what we think it's supposed to be based on, what it was when we were kids, what the movies tell us. And then we get like smacked across the face with this harsh reality of there are moments of good. Yes, there's love, connection to be shared, but it's not all good.
No. I will say this. Uh, and I already feel myself going in different directions. So bring
That's
it
right.
back, Alicia. Bring it back. Okay.
It's an adventure.
Um, I told Laura probably like 6 years ago, there was just a lot of death happening around me. And ironically, I heard about my third death today. So for the week. So there's still a lot of loss, and it does seem to occur here at the end of the year, impacting the holidays. But I also told Laura that having experienced a lot of death, it's also very painful for me to experience loss of relationships or even massive changes in relationships because the person's still here and
Hmm.
I don't have access to them in the same way. And that doesn't quite compute in my brain in the same way that a loss of a life does because I
Yeah.
don't have the option. I don't have the option to call them if I wanted to. Um, I love my dad and I think that I miss my dad more today than I did when he passed away. And
Hmm.
there's a myriad of reasons for that. But I know that I can't just call him, and so that I've accepted
Yeah.
for other things in life that you're talking about, even the loneliness of like sometimes people's expectation for the holidays is that they should be with family or that they should have a family. And that then brings a level of grief into people's lives around the holiday because my life isn't what I thought it should be or what I thought it would be.
I'm
And
not where I thought I would be. And
yeah.
so that attachment to what I wanted versus the reality of where I am, even though that never actually happened, it still creates perception of loss.
And I've had a conversation with a couple of my clients in the last 2 weeks about I actually don't know what is normal anymore in families because obviously I have a biased perspective in what I do and talking to people about family dysfunction a lot. Um, but even in my personal life, I don't know a lot of people who have the Leave It to Beaver type family. And so I really wonder if all of that is some bullshit that we've been fed through media. Like, is that just garbage that we've been fed, or is does that exist? Is that the majority? That's another question I have.
I mean, most complex question you maybe ever asked me, so well done. Um, I don't think normal is one set point. Like to your
Mm,
point, I don't think it's if Leave It to Beaver is like the dynamic of like this is normal, then no one's normal. I think everyone has their version of normal based on their family system,
mm, that's a good
but
point.
normal doesn't mean healthy.
Mm. Well, okay, that I guess that's okay. So working in psychology, we work in norms, and statistics were the required math course for the work
Mhm.
that I do.
Yeah.
Um, so we did operate in norms, but now I just question what is norms? Like, is family dysfunction the outlier or is it the norm? I don't know.
Well, all right, make it even broader, right? Like, how is the data collected? Like, one of the things I like about Brene Brown's research is how she's like a grounded something researcher. I forget exactly the second term, but like, she's
One
regularly
of my
getting in.
favorite things about her, I can't even remember what it is.
It's grounded something research. Yes, there you go. It's the type of research she does. Grounded theory? I don't know. Google it
Don't
while I'm
worry about
talking.
it.
Anyways, she interviews however many people, hundreds, thousands, and based on their lived experience, creates a definition and a reality because the reality of what's normal is forever changing. Like our parents likely grew up in a time where children are meant to be seen, not heard. How
Mm,
parents could parent then and what it meant to be in a family system then when there was a Great Depression and World War II. That's a different type of normal.
yeah.
And don't even get me started with nervous systems and how that's going to play into
Oh,
all of this because what is dysfunction based on individual nervous systems?
that's that's a good question. And
And let me throw another loop at you
okay.
because, again, most complex question you've probably ever asked me, season of family.
Mhm.
When we are the parent in whatever age, 30s, 40s, with kids, maybe 5 to 12, right? That's maybe one season. When you have kids who are then 13 to 18, that's another season.
Mhm.
Then 18 to 30, that's another season, right? Technically, that's still a family, but the family is forever changing, and the dynamic of how you relate to the family is forever changing.
Is that from Gabor Mate? I feel like he says that same thing.
I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised because, Gabor is my dude and I listen to him all the time. But like it's just I don't think there's such a thing as normal. And I honestly don't think normal is what we should shoot for. I think
I don't
healthy
either.
is what we should shoot for.
I don't either. And I'll add, I think that we have lost sight of the importance of diversity. And this is something that has been weighing on me, I don't know, probably all year, maybe even before that. I don't know. But we like, okay, this is going way off topic, but hear me out.
Here we go.
If we talk about standards of beauty, what the standard of beauty is right now is basically what the Kardashians look like. Like they've become the standard of beauty. And so we as women, myself included,
Hmm.
feel pressure to have the butt, have the small waist, have the big lips, have the gorgeous hair. Laura always pulls that off. Me and Sebastian joke about it, like the Laura hair.
The Laura wig.
But what are we feeling pressure to do? We're feeling pressure to look the same as everybody else
Why?
because we have lost sight of the power of diversity. And
Hmm. I don't think that's why.
okay, what do you think it is?
I think it's because we outsource our self-worth and we're sold this narrative. If you look this way, then people will approve of you.
So, is that what's happened with families too? That we're sold a narrative that families are supposed to look and be a certain way?
Probably. I mean, I know
Is it
growing
all
up,
propaganda?
we're in the Matrix. Do you not know that yet?
Oh
Like,
my God.
I know. You want to be Keanu? I've
Yeah,
seen your backbends. You can fucking
duh.
do some backbends. But like, all right, let's go to having kids, right? You and I have had this conversation. I love your girls, you love your girls, and it wasn't necessarily what you thought it would be. It
Oh,
was an illusion,
yeah.
right? Like a very different reality than what you expected.
Yeah.
So like body image, the value of diversity, how we relate to our emotions, what normal is, what normal isn't. Like all of this is just propaganda that we're sold
Hmm.
to fit into a system that's unconscious.
So what I'm hearing is
Don't
one
verify
coping
me.
skill for the holiday is to get rid of your framework. To maybe not get rid of it, but oh,
Have some wine.
I'm gonna use a Laura word.
Like,
Challenge.
challenge. I thought you were gonna go experiment, but okay. Okay,
That's
good.
a good one too. The schemas that you have been taught and ask yourself what's best for your nervous system this holiday season. What would your answer be, Laura, if I asked you that question?
What's best for my nervous system this season? Well, I can tell you, I was reading this morning and the definition of connection
Hmm.
was defined. The energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. So,
Everything
that's
has
a,
to occur without judgment.
I've told you this.
I know.
I don't know why you
We're
still like
always
having fun with it.
we're always talking about this.
I mean, growth is cyclical. Maybe one day we'll stop judging it and see what comes out on the other side. Maybe some curiosity.
That's the opposite, right? Of judgment,
Yeah, yeah,
curiosity.
yeah. But honestly, like jokes aside, challenge, but be curious about it. Like, why do I think that this is what normal is? Why am I staying in this system? Why am I acknowledging or not acknowledging or allowing these things to happen? Like, you know this, when I was going home in the beginning, when I first became a coach, like, I was tolerating a lot of disrespectful behavior because that was my role in the family dynamic. And it's like my nervous system got just like detached from my soul and like put me in this like program. And when I came back from the holidays, I was like, what the hell just happened? Like it was like a PTSD response where I was like, no one was even home. I was dissociated. I was just getting through. And it became this whole like, I started having negative associations of the holidays because
Oh
I
no.
I know because I
There.
wasn't choosing. So, to answer your question, what would be healthy for my nervous system this holiday? My goal is that definition of connection starting with me because
Mm.
that is what has happened to me in the past. It's like I've gotten so because I have a lot of people in my family, and when there's so much stimulation, I'm just like, "Buh, buh, buh, buh." It's like a pinball machine, and Laura's just bouncing around. And I want to be more grounded. I want to be more connected to myself and recognize when I need space and let myself have it versus just going with the toxicity of the system.
Mm. The system is toxic. So
It
many
is.
of our systems are, which
Yeah,
God, if I could wave a magic wand. But
I
anyway,
know. But
uh
I actually want to come back to
yeah.
what you were talking about with grief and loss when someone's still alive,
Uh,
right?
mhm.
Because what we're talking about is choice. right? When we lose someone to death, that's not really a choice we get. Like,
Yeah.
sadly, they've gone on their next journey, whatever that is. But when there are, relationships that have new boundaries, or people break up, or families can't communicate through things, you lose access, was kind of how you framed it. And I think that was a good frame. Why do you think that choice component weighs so heavily in how we experience the loss?
Um, I would guess that it goes back to the illusion of control and feeling like I should have some kind of control. Um,
Is it that, or is it I should have a relationship with them? Like, is it back to the normal,
damn.
right? Because, like, this whole idea of like what it means to be family is you show up for each other, you love each other, you give and receive and care. And I'm sure if anyone's listening to that, they're like, that's not my family. And then there's going to be other people who are like, yeah, that's my family. And then there's other people in the middle who are like, sometimes my family can do that.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people, you being one of them, where I've felt more familial alignment in behaviors with you and Seth and the girls than some of my other extended family, right?
Hmm.
And I mean, I labeled myself Aunt Laura. So like the girls are on board with it by now.
Yeah.
But that's just how I relate to the word family because should I have a closer relationship with person X, Y, or Z? Maybe. According to who does it benefit if I do that? And what am I sacrificing if I stay in a relationship that doesn't respect who I am and what's important to me?
So when I answered the question, I think I was thinking of it from a romantic capacity, not necessarily family, but
There.
that makes sense too. Um, I think if we're getting real deep and personal, I have that helper personality type,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I operate under this illusion that I should be able to fix everything. And that is not true. Not true.
Like, get curious. What makes you think it's broken?
Mhm. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Right?
Yeah, who set up this standard?
Like, that's kind of what when you said, like, let's challenge it, I think that's like what my question is. Like, why do I feel like I need to go with this system? Why
Hmm.
do I feel like I should have more access to them?
Hmm.
Why am I perceiving it as a loss that I don't have more access to them? Is it actually creating a deficit or do I feel safer?
Hmm.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Okay, so if we're grieving and we're feeling lonely and we're feeling isolated and we don't have the ability to connect in the way that you described, then how do we get through these damn holidays?
Wine? No, not truly. I mean, support systems. Like, don't have the ability to connect with those people, sure.
Hmm.
But are there other people that you do have the ability to connect with? I like to think most people have that. If not, I'm sure most people could find a community space like a church or a temple where they could at least embody a shared space with common messages that would breed connection. Um, Maybe it's even about volunteering. Being of service is a great way to feel connected to like humanity. But I mean, you're not gonna be surprised with this one, but it all starts with your ability to connect to yourself, right? So like that's what like is a win for me this holiday system is like not letting my nervous system get hijacked with the level of stimulation, but staying connected and being able to like sense and feel myself and like recognize where I'm at because otherwise I'm not even present for it. It's like this roller coaster that I just get off and I'm like, whoa, that was a wild ride. I think it was fun, but I don't even know half the time.
Hmm. It's an adrenaline rush, apparently.
Well, when you got like
Adrenaline could be good or bad.
50 screaming drunk Catholics running around, it's a good time, but it's a chaotic one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the answer of connecting to yourself really resonates with me just because I've worked with people who truly do feel like they have absolutely no one during the holidays and there's no one that they can connect with. And I guess then in that case, you would be left with, okay, well, let me make this holiday about me
Yeah.
and let me
Like that,
really try to connect with me.
I think that kind of takes us to one of the components we were talking about offline about like why do we always try and fast forward through the shitty emotions? And
Mm,
like whether we recognize it or not, our emotions are an access point to deeper connection with ourselves. So you're absolutely right. There are plenty of people who don't really feel like they have anyone that they can connect with. And part of that, not all of it, but sometimes, and part of it is you're not being that person to yourself. You're not seeing yourself. You're not hearing yourself. You're not non-judgmental of yourself.
mm.
You can't give nor receive to yourself, not without judgment, at least. And there isn't sustenance or strength. So I actually think, like, I read this probably in a Gabor book, but I don't remember where, that like the level of love we can receive is directly correlated to the level of love we can embody from ourselves because it's a safety thing in our system. And I remember when I was doing my first like sleep out for Dawning Family Services, I like set a goal of like $500. And I get really insecure about asking people for money who have supported me my whole life. And like, yes, it's for people who are homeless and it's not for me, but still, like, they've already been so generous. In a way, it made me feel ungrateful, but it was for a good reason and I did it. And I remember I raised like $5,000 and I cried like 3 different days because I felt so overwhelmed by the level of support. Like, it was really vulnerable for me. And it was hard, like a beautiful hard, but it was like very, whew, like it was just a lot to try and tolerate. And it was an interesting experience because it also showed me where I had space to grow in what I can receive.
Hmm.
And it makes me think of healing, right? People often think they're healing so they don't experience as much pain, but it's really you heal so you can experience more joy and more connection and more love. And maybe that's what it is, right? Like if you don't have someone this holiday season, use the loneliness and grief as an access point to deeper connection with yourself to heal. So you can access more joy, so you can access more connection, so you can move beyond whatever pain has felt like it's holding you back.
So then I will ask you a question that many of my clients have asked me. Um, how do you start to be non-judgmental of yourself?
I'm curious. I'm curious as to the motivation of the judgment. Why would you say that to me? What do you want me to understand from that? What are you trying to get me to do? What are you trying to get me to not do? How is this thought trying to serve me, even if I don't like the experience of it? Is it helping me not do something? Is it trying to help motivate me to do tasks I wish I could do more organically? More often than not, our judge was built to try and prompt us and move us, not to beat us up. It just happens to have that side effect, which is why if you could build a different motivational highway, it makes it a lot easier. But that's, I mean, I used to be horribly judgmental of myself, and now I don't even experience it because I've learned what it was trying to get me to do. And once I started questioning it, I was like, oh my God, you're full of shit. It was such bullshit. But once you look at like, okay, what do you want me to do with this? What's the information you're trying to give me versus like believing the sentiment of the judgment? That's what I tell people to do.
That's a good one.
What do you tell people to do?
Um, well, I guess I start with challenging the beliefs that we have about ourselves, like, which I guess is not very different from being curious about it. Just like, one thing, for example, that people have told me a lot is like, I feel like I'm a bad person.
Mm,
And that was something that I struggled with a lot too, back in my religious days. I don't know, maybe I still do a little bit. Anyway, um, I always love to ask people, what makes you a bad person?
mhm.
And I will tell you, with teenagers in particular, I had the most hilarious answers. I'm like,
Oh, I'm
oh
sure.
my God, like you didn't listen to your mom? Like, wow.
Boo you.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I guess in that sense, we would be getting curious about those beliefs and where they came from and what what standard am I measuring myself by?
Ooh,
We're going to
right.
talk
Like
about measuring research
normal.
standards and how things were collected, then we got to do that same thing with ourselves. Where did we get this idea?
Why do we think it's normal? Why do we think it's wrong? Like I saw this yesterday on it with like ADHD, which I have. And when you have ADHD, you recognize like my brain doesn't operate how it's supposed to. I'm supposed to be able to do these things when I'm prompted to, and I can't get myself to do them. And because we're people who didn't know any better, why can't you do that? What's wrong with you? You're lazy, right? The inner critic being created from the outside in, we then perpetuate that. But one of the funny things with ADHD, and I'm totally sure Gabor helped me with this one,
Ha!
is when you accept what your defaults are, what your weaknesses are, rather than fighting against them, rather than trying to be what someone else is, you I'm bad at remembering these things. What is the system I can put in place to help me remember these things? It's a trial and error thing, but once you accept it and you stop resisting the things you're bad at, it actually helps your memory and you stop forgetting things as much. And it's really interesting because I now operate from a space of like I trust my brain to remind me of the things that are important to me. I really do.
That's how my
And then
brain is.
And thinking of my life like that makes it so much easier because, yeah, there are going to be moments where I forget things. And maybe it should have been more important. And for whatever reason, it wasn't. And I can apologize and repair, but this is the benefit of not having the judge on the other side. I'm human. I'm gonna forget things sometimes, whether you have ADHD or not. That's just part of being human. And if I do forget something that's important to someone I care about and they have enough love to tell me about it, I'll apologize and I'll make up for it. It doesn't mean I don't care. It just means I had a human moment. I can honor their truth, but like this is the complexity of all of it. It really is. And it's like we're so busy trying to protect ourselves because we're judging ourselves all the time because we're so disconnected from ourselves because connection was never really actually modeled for us that we perpetuate it within ourselves by judging ourselves, not getting curious. And then we expect ourselves to be these perfect robotic people, and no wonder we can't connect to anything. We're freaking robots.
That all look the
Alicia,
same and operate the same, which
Matrix.
goes back to the importance of diversity.
Yeah.
Because speaking of having human moments, my sugar definitely dropped during this episode. So I am sweating my ass off right now. And that is why I've been eating. Anyway, I'm also going to fan myself
Ran away, girl. We all have these moments,
as
right?
we
This
talk
is human.
about this.
But all right, let me pull back the shade for a second.
Okay.
One of the reasons that I feel so connected to you and so free and why I do call you family is because you don't hide your adventureness. Some people might call it chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure you referred to it as chaos. I mean, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm here for the ride, man. But I also know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. You know what my strengths are, what my weaknesses are. And although I know you are judgmental sometimes of yourself, for all I know, you might be judgmental towards me, but I never feel judged by you. Not
Well,
once.
I will say this. My dad taught me this one. He said, we are our own best attorney and everybody else's best judge. So, for example, If I did it, I can explain why I did it and where I was coming from and what was happening. But if somebody else does it, they're awful. Um, Now, unfortunately, that same thing happens inside of us too. But I think maybe you sent me a video. I think you sent me a video of a guy who was talking about not being judgmental anymore because he can understand where everybody's coming from. And I think that that's been my experience as a therapist, that I find it very hard to judge people once I understand where they're coming from. And
Yeah.
once I understand where they're coming from, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. And that's a phrase you use all the time, by the way. That makes sense. Um, and I don't want to get to know everybody because it's a lot of energy
Mhm.
getting to know
Fair.
everybody and understanding their why. Um, but I do think, that's one of this is completely off subject, but that's one of the points of the mental health division of the court system, that if you understand what made the person who they are, maybe you'll be a little less judgmental of them.
Hmm.
Uh, but, that's another story altogether. Anyway, yeah, my point is, I find it hard to judge people once I get them, once I understand them and I know them. It's much easier to judge from a distance and say, um, you know, God, Emily Bledsoe, she was on here. Her dad reminds me a lot of my dad, actually.
Hmm.
And he was saying, he does a lot of speeches and presentations and panels and all kinds of stuff. Lots of videos of him speaking. And in one of his videos, he was talking about how he doesn't judge any politicians because they're just people. And I was like, oh, God, I need to work on getting there.
Yeah. I was like, "Ooh, you will not like that message."
No.
You know what's interesting? I don't have the interest in understanding everyone either, but rather than judgment, where I end up finding myself is I just don't understand. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And like that's where it stays for me. I won't stand by, I don't agree with, and it hasn't been explained in a way that I can understand or even empathize with or have compassion for. So like I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense and I'm not okay with it, but I'm not judging the human being.
Mm.
And I think trauma and understanding trauma helped me live in that kind of liminal space of I don't need to land one place or the other. But I mean, honestly, being curious about my judgment made it a lot like that's the first thing that came to my mind when you made the comment with like the politicians is I'm like, it makes me curious, like, what makes them think that this is even a good idea? Like, where did they come up with like I get curious about their motivations and what they've experienced. And although I'm not gonna get those answers, and I won't be able to understand. So at least that's where it leaves me. So that's like where, like, it's just a preference of how you want to live your life. Judgment, in a way, is a shield. And
Mm.
I get why people lean into it because we live in a very judgmental society where everyone else is judging and we all just want to feel like we belong, which is one of like our primary fucking needs. But if we're
Well,
judging
I think
ourselves,
it's
then we even
even
belong.
more primal than that sometimes, that I think it's related to assessing your environment. Like back in the tribal days, you had to assess your environment and decide what was safe and what wasn't. And I think there's a level of that involved in us being judgmental. Like, do I fit in this tribe? Do I fit in this environment? And it's about, getting back to the basics that you and I talk about a lot: safety,
Mhm.
connection, that's the
Yeah.
foundation
But
of,
fitting in and belonging aren't the same thing.
yeah. Oh, I know. I know, because I could look like a Kardashian and I still wouldn't fit in.
We
That's a
like we need to
joke.
put that on like Halloween costumes for next year and like see what the persona would be because I would be there for that show all fucking day. Let me tell you. But I think one of the blessings that you give that you don't give yourself enough credit for is you are authentic. And sometimes you experience things in life that you don't like because of it, but you also welcome other people's authenticity by simply being authentic yourself. Like
Yeah,
that's
I
part of
much
why I've never
prefer
felt
it
shame. Yeah,
personally.
me too. It's so much easier. It's so much more fun. And the same thing I will always tell you, being authentic is the best filter for who deserves your time and energy in your life.
Mm, that's a good one. Yeah.
And like sometimes that doesn't look the way you want it to look. Maybe you want Joe Schmo to be one of your people, but Joe Schmo doesn't like the authentic you. Okay. Is it worth being fake? So Joe Schmo likes you. How long are you going to be fake? What would that do to your self-esteem? What would that do to your nervous system? What would that do to your character? Trust me, I didn't get here by being authentic all the time. I got here by not being authentic, seeing the cost and saying, fuck that. I'd rather just be me.
Two things. One, I was thinking of the girl, I think her name is Elise Myers. She's like autistic
Mhm.
and
On
she
Insta?
yeah, she just wrote a
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I'd love to tell you about that or something like that because that's like her little catchphrase. And at
Yeah.
some point she was making merch that said, if I'm too much, go find less. And that is like a fucking mantra right there.
Dude.
Do you have it? Do you have it? You fucking have it. What the hell?
Fuck yeah.
That's amazing. I love it.
I think it's hilarious you just pulled that out.
That
Yes, I
is
have
so
it as
cool.
a sweatshirt at my office, obviously, because I am too much for the wrong people.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
simple.
So the second thing I was going to say is Sean Webb, who I really love, former
Yeah.
Navy SEAL, works on AI presently. He wrote a book, Mind Hacking Happiness. We've talked about it on here before, but he came up with this formula about how to change your mindset, basically. And to me, I mean, it took me a long time to grasp this, okay, which is embarrassing, but I'm a slow processor, I guess. I don't know. The easiest variable to change is perception.
Hmm.
And it doesn't have to be that we change our perspective completely. We just have to shift it a little bit, and it makes a huge difference. And so it's about the way that we're thinking about things.
Hmm.
Is it terrible that I have to slow down and sit with myself this holiday season? Or is this an opportunity for me to really do some good self-reflection and deep dives and whatever else, have
Yeah.
some alone time with my books. I don't know, whatever you.
I mean, I agree. I think flipping the script is an important component. Like people always go like, what if this happens? What if this happens? I'm like, all that could. And what if this amazing thing happens and this amazing thing happens? Like belief, right? So yes, perspective is the simplest way of shifting mindset, but getting your perspective to land typically requires a belief adjustment. That's where experimenting is super helpful. Um, but I have a belief that everything I experience in my life, I'm supposed to experience the good, the bad, the ugly to learn something and evolve to have the best life. And
Yeah.
when you have that belief and you struggle, I don't like the struggle. Fuck the struggle. But apparently it's happening for a reason. Apparently I'm supposed to learn something. And the longer I'm in the struggle, it's because I'm not learning the thing I'm supposed to be learning. I'm resisting the reality I'm in versus accepting it and paying attention to it. Okay, I'm alone. Okay, I'm feeling lonely. Okay, I'm feeling grief. What am I supposed to learn about that? How can I be closer to myself because of that? Who can I reach out to? What would support look like? Like, there's so much we don't know about ourselves, and all of it's an invitation. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of whether we're willing to accept the invitation to get to know ourselves better, and the judge makes it harder. The judge makes us feel like anything we're going to see beyond that superficial self is going to be horrific. And in reality, that's actually where a lot of the goodness is.
Oh. Well, I have long believed that our strengths are also our weaknesses, and they're
Mhm.
kind of one and the same.
Yep.
So it just depends on the scenario. And That's the weird thing about life, the yin and yang of everything. It's just a really this is a weird experience. This is such a weird experience.
Yes, it is an opportunity to explore how you want to make this weirdness fit with you, make it memorable, how you can laugh in the midst of it, and the impact you get to have, and the
Ooh,
chaos you
so come
experience
up with
along
a
the way.
new tradition.
Okay, what is it?
I was thinking that I could wear a special outfit to Scott's birthday party.
Is it a Kardashian outfit? Bubble butt?
I have no idea what a Kardashian outfit would be.
I'm sure if you Google it
I'm
or
so far removed. I actually don't know what these bitches are wearing, but
uh, give it to Liliana, she'll help you out. I've confidence in my girl to get you over the bridge. But yes, I think that'd be a great holiday tradition. It could even be our Christmas tradition.
I wasn't sure if Scott would be embarrassed.
Scott's always embarrassed, but he's married to me, so it's fine. He's used to
Yes,
it.
I can't wait to embarrass Scott
Please embarrass him.
on his birthday.
He'll be like, it's like Laura and her friends. He doesn't care anymore. He just accepts it because what is he gonna do? Not be married to me because I'm weird? Come on. Like part of my weirdness is what he enjoys.
Oh
Weird.
God.
Embrace your weird for sure.
All right, so I just figured out how to cope with my holiday. I hope you guys got something out of this as well.
Let's call it
Um,
the chaos of life.
just remember, we've been programmed and we don't have to buy into our programming.
Yeah, just be
We can
curious.
challenge it, we can get curious about it, and we can shift, even in the smallest ways, and that helps a lot.
I agree.
All right. Well, thanks for suffering